On behalf of the director, Susan Weber, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you here tonight to the Bard Graduate Center, those of you here in the room, and those of you elsewhere in the world watching on BGC TV. Welcome here. It's my special pleasure as Dean to be here tonight because it marks the beginning of our 5th year of Cultures of Conservation at the Bard Graduate Center. This is a curricular and research initiative sponsored by a generous grant from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, something which is designed to bring together humanists and conservators, the kinds of questions that scholars in humanities disciplines such as history, art history, anthropology, and archaeology might be asking, and the kinds of answers that conservators, scientists, and conservation scientists now are able to give to questions. What I'd like to do now, before really passing over the baton and starting the evening properly, is to just introduce the 2 new fellows we have here for 2 years, beginning, and I'd like to ask them to stand up for a moment. Sorry, Alicia, I know it's embarrassing. But we're very happy to have with us Jessica Walthu, who will be leading this program tonight, and Alicia Boswell, who's standing there. They come to us from precisely the different kinds of backgrounds that I think really embodies what this initiative is about. Jessica has a training in conservation with an MA from the IFA's Conservation Institute. Alicia is an archaeologist with a PhD from the anthropology department at San Diego. Jessica is working on a project with the Museum of Natural History's Anthropology Division on the conservation of totem poles and other materials from the Northwest Coast in advance of the hope for eventual renovation of the Boaz Hunt Northwest Coast Hall. And Alicia is working on a project, Crucibles of Innovation, the Andean Metalwork exhibition project at the Metropolitan Museum of Art across the park. So it's great to have them here. They're guiding lots of the programming and will for the next couple of years. And on that note, I turn over tonight's program to Jessica.
Hello and welcome to everyone. Thank you, Peter, for the introduction. As Peter's already mentioned, the Cultures of Conservation initiative funded by the Mellon Foundation includes courses, fellowships, and events like the one tonight. This initiative aims to incorporate conservation cultures into the thinking of scholars and students in the humanist disciplines taught here at Bard, as well as sharing this interest in materials, technologies, context, and consequences with the New York and broader communities. This is the 3rd in a series of keyword panels that are part of this initiative. The first, Conserving an Eludic Kayak, was convened by Aaron Glass in October 2015, bringing together various perspectives on the conservation of the kayak at the Harvard Peabody Museum. The second, Conserving Minimalist, Post-Minimalist, and Conceptual Art, was convened by Ivan Gaskell and brought together scholars of contemporary art to discuss the Guggenheim's Panza initiative. These panels bring together scholars and conservators to explore 4 conventional values in the field of conservation practice: preservation of the material object, reversibility or visibility of the conservation treatment, attention to the physical and conceptual integrity of the original item, and respect for the intention of the maker or artist. Using diverse case studies, we unpack these key phrases to reveal how contemporary conservation projects both channel and challenge standard approaches to object-centered research and museological practice. In case you've enjoyed the previous panels, as I'm sure you will enjoy tonight's, you may wish to mark your calendars for the 4th panel in this series, convened by Itai Weinrib, on the topic of conserving 9/11, which will take place in February of this next year. On to tonight's program. This evening, we will examine a site near and dear to us here in New York, Central Park. I'd like to acknowledge David Jaffe and Aaron Glass for their help in convening tonight's panel. The park's multi-layered history will be examined by our panel of speakers representing history, archaeology, urban studies, and preservation. We'll have Marie Warsh from the Central Park Conservancy, who will open this evening's program and talk about some of the initiatives of the Conservancy and their projects in collaboration with other partners. We have Richard Hunter of Hunter Research, who will speak more specifically about the Randall Markers Project. This collaborative work uncovered material evidence of the city's early grid, locating markers placed by surveyor John Randolph for the Commissioner's Plan of 1811. So Marie will speak first, giving the context of this work, and then Richard will give further details about the Randall Markers project. Then Nan Rothschild of Columbia University will discuss Seneca Village, one of the settlements displaced by eminent domain in order to create the park. To put things in broader perspective, Hilary Ballin of New York University will offer larger issues involved in the preservation and interpretation of the Central Park in the context of urban studies and architectural history. Just for format, I will read the speakers' biographies just before they speak. Each will present for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll hold all questions for the end for a question and answer session. You can send us your questions via Twitter if you're watching from UGC TV at #BardGradCenterTV.